everyone. I'm Flora Harutunyan. I'm from Armenia. I graduated from UWC Dilijan in 2018, and afterwards, I went to the University of Florida to continue my education. I received a degree in political science and Spanish, and currently, I'm in DC as a master's candidate at Georgetown University. And today, it is my pleasure to hold this conversation with Mrs. Denise Davidson, who was the second head of UWC Dilijan from 2016 to 2018. This coincides with my years at UWC Dilijan, which is why I'm very delighted to reconnect with you, Denise. Our conversation is part of a series in a run-up to the 10th anniversary of UWC Dilijan. The school will be celebrating it this October, and we're trying to ensure that we have reflections of all those incredibly valuable people who have been involved in this truly pioneering venture. So, Denise, how are you? A few words about your professional background and how you go to UWC Dilijan.
Oh my goodness, we've only got half an hour. um, good evening. It's lovely, absolutely delightful to be back here talking to a student who I spent 2 years with. Most, may I say, unexpectedly. I responded to a phone call from a colleague of mine who said, could I possibly just come to Dilijan for a few weeks to help set up the Toon system? So we came out for a short time and found ourselves spending 2 years helping to run the glorious college that is Dilijan. I had retired. I had been a teacher for many years. I was head of a school for 12 years. We had gone out to a tiny island in the Atlantic called St. Helena, where my husband was the I think judicial officer was his official title, and I was supposedly director of education, but I ducked out of that and became far more interested in sustainability, because that was an island that was beginning to realize that that the future required more thought. So I think that set me on the path that attracted me so much to Dilijan and what Dilijan was about, and certainly UWC, the whole thought that we are responsible to each other for ourselves and our planet, and that we can't just use it and throw it away, that we have to be aware that our lifestyles must respond to the needs of us, ourselves, people around us, and indeed the whole planet. And certainly in the last 2 years, that's become more and more obvious, hasn't it?
It has
Um,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and you know the whole ethos of UWC is one which the world is now having to adopt, or I wish they would. But more and more people are being aware that this is the direction we have to go in. So
Absolutely.
yes, 2 years that I feel like the culmination of many of the things that I had done before. And where it all actually started was in a tiny island in the Pacific called Funafuti, Tuvalu. And in fact, I was talking to a group of women last night about these islands because I think, back in the 1970s and 80s when we were there,
Mhm.
um, they were absolutely committed to recycling, reusing, and preserving the nature that they had. And they were so far ahead. And I think
Right.
that's where the seeds were sown in me that I eventually brought to Dilijan. And it came to fruition, and it was wonderful.
Yeah. I'm glad the journey brought you to Dilijan. It seems like it has been a very long journey. And if we were to go back to those times, how was your first impression? What was your first impression when you just entered the campus? Because I know that for students, it is a core memory that you keep coming back to. So I wonder what was yours.
Well, I think it happens before that, doesn't it? Just before you get to the campus, you come through the tunnel. You
Right.
come through a fairly sort of barren land, but you come through the tunnel at the top of the hill, or mountain, not the hill, and then you circle down, and you
Right.
sort of gradually glide down into this almost little you feel yourself sliding into another world. And certainly Dilijan felt like another world. Um,
Right.
there, there was much that I admired and, as you say, was slightly overwhelmed. I was appalled by the fences. And as you know, I spent 2 years getting rid of the fences, despite being told that the wolves would get us. Um, I just felt that we needed to be open, far more open to certainly to the town of Dilijan and to the world. We didn't need to build fences. We needed to open ourselves out. And I think along with the students, that was something we spent quite a lot of time doing. Well, I hope we did in my time there, reaching out to Dilijan, to the town of Dilijan, and to all the people around in Armenia. And I think that's something you as students did brilliantly.
I would agree with that. I think we all tried to contribute as much as we could. And
Mm,
obviously, it was the third year, at least I was part of the third generation. So we're just starting everything and starting
mm.
from the beginning. Um, I guess in that context, my next question would be for everyone who does not have awareness what an international school entails or how different it is from usual national school. Well, how would you describe that difference? How would you describe the certain characteristics that distinguish a UWC school from any other school or UWC Diligent in particular?
Okay. I would say, first of all, an international school, one of the key markers is you can take nothing for granted. If you're in a school in your own nationality, in a system you understand, in something that you've always been brought up with, then you take it all for granted and you just wake up in the day and follow the routine. Yes, you have blips up and down, but basically it's almost a straight line. In an international school, you have to be so aware of each other. You just cannot um, take for granted that the people alongside of you will think the same way you do. They won't even speak the way you do. Um, and you have to build in yourself the ability to take each day as it comes and each experience to absorb that new experience and take it into yourself and use it rather than just pushing it away as something strange and different. You have to be so open in an international school. You can't take anything for granted. And I think that's the key thing that I would say to anyone. And if you're prepared to do that, every day is an amazing learning experience. Even the little things, um,
Absolutely.
they just hit you and think, I never thought of that, or oh, look at that.
Right.
And every day brings that in an international school. I suppose if I'd been there for 10 years, I might have become a little more used to it. But in the 2 years I was there, I don't think I ever took anything for granted.
That makes a lot of sense. And in that case, would you say that as an educator, this sort of feeling of open-mindedness and curiosity about everything that is going on a daily basis has been the distinguishing factor between UWC Diligent and all your other experiences before as well?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely. Um, and it was, if you like, it was the culmination of my career. Um, I didn't expect it. I thought I'd retired. I came along just for a short while. I didn't expect what came. So for me, it was an absolutely life enhancing, life defining 2 years that made me recognize that everything that I had learned was brought to fruition in the 2 years I was there.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that. Um, I guess following up on that and also sort of just reflecting on what's happening, what do you think UWC Diligent faces as its biggest challenge in the upcoming decade or so in maybe educational sphere, among other educational institutions, or however you would want to interpret it?
Well, I think the world is facing a huge challenge in the next 10 years. Um, we are we are in a time of extreme challenge. There are I we were having a discussion and said if, as a historian, I look at what's happening now, I see so many similarities to what happened in the 1930s, leading to the catastrophe of the Second World War. And you can see that mankind seems to be heading in that direction again. One, the hope, the hope that we have is institutions such as Diligem and young people like yourselves can sort of put the brakes on and say, no, we don't want that. That's not where we want to go. Look at what we have done here in this college. Why can the world not work alongside us in the same way? Now, that's a big ask. That's a monumental ask, I know that. But I have very clear memories of the day that we went down with the town of Diligem. We went down to the big statue on the hill, and it was Memorial Day, and they took the flowers to put on it, and we asked for volunteers to do it. And if you remember, it was one student from Armenia and one student from Turkey, and that was purely voluntary. And considering the history and the past, to see those two young men join together to carry that memorial was, to me, what Dilijan is about. It's about remembering, certainly, not forgetting, you can't forget, but moving forward together. Is it a forgiveness? Is it reconciliation? I'm not sure what word you use, but I did that vision, the two young men walking together, having decided to do it, not in any way being forced to do it. That if young people can do that, then maybe there is still hope for our future, our future world, our future planet. I'm sure there is, because I believe in young people.
We're all hopeful realists, I guess, to a certain extent. And in that,
you have to be.
there is no other way around it. But understanding that, you know, so many members of our community, so many of our alumni students are currently displaced, are under attack, and going through challenges where the word challenge is not merely doing justice. And you being away, and also having this connection to the school and to UWC Diligent community, which we all take pride in. How do you think, or what do you think we're doing right as a community, and where you think we should move next? This is a very grand question, and I apologize.
Oh, why should you move next? I don't think you should move anywhere. I think what you are doing is a beacon, and we need beacons. Why do you need to move? I mean, are you saying, should we move out and take over the world? Well, that becomes a little bit like the sort of megalomaniacs, doesn't it? We are going to take over, we're going to be powerful. That doesn't work. But shining beacons that just get on with doing what you are doing, living together, appreciating each other, respecting each other, glorying each other, enjoying each other every day. That, to me, is the beacon that is Dilijan, and that is what I think should go on. Education, well, it comes and goes. You know, I've been in education now for 50 years, and we've been through so many phases of what is a perfect education and what isn't, that I think there will never be a perfect standard. There'll never be a perfect world. There just won't. We'd be foolish to. We'll never be perfect people. But what we can do is what you do in Dilijan. And as I have just said, you live together, you work together, you achieve together, you have ambition, and you reach out to the world. You are a beacon, and that is what the world needs.
Thank you for that. And I guess since we have very limited amount of time and we do want to finish on a positive note, what would be a sentence or a phrase, or however you would want to define it, that for you distinguishes UWC Diligent? What is UWC Diligent for you?
Personally, as I have said, personally, the culmination of a wonderful career with young people. But I think if someone came along and asked me, what what is Dilijan? What is the college? Should I go there? Should I be there? My response, I think, would be, if you want to be a learning person, if you want to be a loving person, if you want to be an open human being that appreciates the world around you, and along with your fellow beings, you want to be the best person you can be, then Dilijan provides you with that opportunity because of who and what is there. The buildings, etc., are spectacular. You asked me for one sentence. Sorry, this is several. It's very difficult. You can't do it in one
Take
sentence.
all
It's
the
not
time.
possible. It's
Yes.
not possible. But when you first arrive, as I've said, it's almost overwhelming, overpowering. They are so big. In the mountains, as you look up with the lovely green hills or white hills, if you're probably in the snow at the moment. But if you look up and see all of that with the college nestling in the valley, it is it is a beacon. You think, wow, how did that get there? Well, in a way, that's what Dilijan is. How did that powerhouse of young people get there? And it is a powerhouse because of the sheer energy and enthusiasm and and love and respect for each other that is generated in the college. And that's why the whole world ought to have the chance to have an experience such as Dilijan.
Thank you, Denise. Love and respect is our best shot, and it has been delightful to reconnect with you. Hopefully, I'll see you at the 10th anniversary celebrations.
I most certainly will. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed talking to you.